Hello, and welcome to the Celebrating Women in Business Journals. I am your host, Sarah Jenkins. Here at Celebrating Women in Business, we are a welcoming community of women who empower one another through recognition, collaboration, and genuine connection. By celebrating achievements, big and small, sharing knowledge, and inspiring each other, this gives everyone the power to grow. So today I have a lovely guest with us. We have Alison Worrall from Spiritually Fit Wellness Being Services. Hi, Alison.
Hello, you're right.
Good, thank you. So, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Sure, yeah. So I run it's mainly a coaching and hypnosis business. Kind of use a bit of spirituality in there as well with modalities like EFT and reiki. Anything in my toolbox that can kind of help alongside the coaching and the hypnosis. Just to help women to at the moment to build confidence and just to know where they're going and be able to go where, whether it's in business or in personal life, to get where they want to be, really. The hypnosis is quite new, so I'm still training in that. So at the moment, I am working on any kind of hypnosis at all, which has been really interesting. So I've done lots of fears and phobias, confidence, motivation, lots of different things. Habits is primarily my goal, around eating habits, really, because that's kind of how I got into hypnosis in the first place. But yeah, so that's kind of what my business covers at the moment. I've been a coach for a few years now, so just adding hypnosis to the
Wow,
toolbox as well. Yeah.
fantastic. And I find hypnosis is really fascinating. And I think for a lot of people, it can be a bit scary
Mm.
because you think you're sort of handing yourself over to somebody. Um, yeah, and what if you say something silly or because we see on the TV, don't we, that you'll be walking around like a chicken or something like that. So anybody that feels interested but a little bit nervous, can you explain a little bit more of like what actually happens?
Yeah, of course. I mean, stage hypnosis is one version of it, but the people that are on there are kind of pre-prepped. They're already kind of aware of the people that have been selected are of a certain type of person, let's say, so they know what they're doing when they put those programs together, to get people to do exactly what they want. But hypnosis isn't about mind control. It's not about controlling somebody and getting them to do what I want. It's getting them
Mm,
to do what they want to do, basically. So all my sessions are client led. Hypnosis really it's more like a trance like state. I kind of describe it as when you're driving and you're on autopilot, and you drive somewhere, you get there, but you don't quite know how you got there, but
mhm.
you're fully aware of what's around you and that kind of thing. So it's like that, really. It's very relaxing. Most people really enjoy it because they just get that time to themselves as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
um but, sorry, have you got another
Oh, no,
question?
no,
Oh.
I was gonna say, if like, is it done in one session or is it done over multiple sessions?
The way that I work is it's kind of a combination of therapy and a hypnosis. So it's not really, I don't know whether it's going to take one session or more than one, and most people don't, to be honest. If somebody promises it's going to be done in one session, I'd be quite reluctant to say that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, Mainly because we're like onions. We have lots of layers, and you can try and treat the symptom, which is what you'll come to me for, but it may be coming from somewhere underneath in another layer. And until you uncover those layers, sometimes you won't really get to the core issue. So hypnosis can make a difference in the first session, but it may take more than one session to actually get to the core issue, that needs dealing with. Especially when it comes to kind of habits, eating habits, things like
Yeah.
that. They can come from more of, other emotions and things like that. So
Fab. Do you do it in person or like over the internet or?
Yeah, so I do mine via Zoom at the moment. I don't have an office,
Hmm.
so anybody can work with me at the moment on Zoom, and it works quite well. I find that most people are, um, yeah, work
Yeah,
well with it.
yeah. And I think that's good. And that's one good thing about technology, isn't it? Because I think sometimes when we go for these treatments, whatever they may be, we can get really anxious and nervous. And I think if we're in the comfort of our own home, it, it I imagine it helps it to work better as well because you're not battling the anxiety of being in a strange office. Offices do work, you know, but it is nice to be able to do it from home as well.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I think I like to think that I help put people at ease anyway. No
Yeah,
matter where they are, um, and I'm always happy to talk through any questions or queries before I have a half-hour consultation with my all my clients before they even have their first session as well, where they can ask any questions they want to and go through any concerns and ask how it's going to work and that kind of thing. But yeah, Zoom does work, and especially if clients want to relax while they're having the hypnotherapy, they can lay on their bed or they're, be in their most comfy chair if it works for them, and obviously they've got to still be able to use Zoom whilst doing it, so it
yeah,
needs to be a sensible setup. That's kind of what I ask for really. But yeah.
yeah. Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your journey and why helping women with their well-being is so important to you.
Oh, my journey's quite a long one, really. It's been it's been almost 10 years overall, so
Wow.
it's been a long journey. I started out as a what was known as a body coach with a company called Herbalife, and I really enjoyed the coaching side of it. So I decided to move away from products and go into the coaching. So that's kind of how that progression came about. And along the way, I've done a lot of personal development, a lot of spiritual work, and obviously that's where those modalities have then come in as well. So yeah, my journey's been quite a long one. Um, the hypnotherapy came in early this year because of my own personal journey again with it. But I just really enjoy helping normally women because I can relate to them, they can relate to me a lot of the time with my
Yeah.
journey as well. And I just really enjoy helping them to be where they want to be, really. And yeah.
And do you think that your experiences have really helped you become that better coach because you really do understand sort of what people are going through?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think if you haven't been in someone's shoes, it can be harder to relate to them. It can be harder to, but then it can also be, there's a fine balance because it can be tricky to take a step back sometimes as well. If
Yeah,
you've been there, you have to, as a coach or a hypnotherapist, have to kind of rein in your own thoughts and feelings on that one because obviously that's how I would feel. It's not how the client feels. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a fine balancing act, really.
yeah. Oh, for sure. So if there is somebody out there who is feeling stuck right now, what would you suggest their first steps to be? Because sometimes it's hard just to take that first step, isn't it? To actually go, oh, actually, I need a bit of help.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, asking for help is always a good step if you really do feel like you can't do anything on your own anyway.
Mm,
But just making them really small, manageable steps, rather than getting yourself overwhelmed, depending on what it is, obviously. But if you've got something that seems far too big and too bold, like starting a new business, for example, don't think of it as starting a whole new business. Just start with doing 10 minutes of research on something, just
yeah,
really small incremental steps that you can bring in, and that just really can help you deal with the overwhelm of it all.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think when we do start our own business, a lot of the time people think, I need social media, I need a website, I need this, I need that. And it gets, even for me, like that is just so overwhelming. And for me, I just don't do it then because
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. Um, but that isn't the case. And I going on to what like I do with networking, I think that surrounding yourself with the right people can really help. and we like to believe we can do it by ourselves, but we can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what has been your most rewarding moment in your business journey so far?
Um, I think just when I look at the testimonials and the, the work that I've done with the ladies I've worked with, they just, yeah, the impact that it can have is just it is so rewarding. There's nothing like that feeling of hearing someone say, "Oh, I've done this," and you know that that's what they were working towards. And sometimes, especially with the hypnosis and that, they don't always realise that they're making those changes.
Hmm.
And it's not until they come to me and we're having a session and they're talking about what they've been doing, and I'll say, "So this is what, you know, this is what we were working towards. This is what we've been trying to achieve." And they'll sort of stop and go, "Oh yeah," because it's surprising to them how kind of easy it's been
Yeah.
without realizing it.
Yeah. So, how important do you think it is for us to look back on our journeys? Because I know myself, like at the beginning of the year, I set myself the goals to sort of make big changes. And yeah, when I look back, it surprises me. So yeah, how do you feel about that? And is it something that people should be doing often, however or whatever they are in their life?
Yeah, self-reflection is always a good idea. Whether it's looking back over a long term or a short term
Mm.
kind of situation. But yeah, just looking from the perspective of where you've been to where you are now, it can be so powerful. Because like I said, you don't, even if you're making those small changes, that you don't realize how much they add up over time.
Hmm.
So unless you do look back and go, well, that's what I was like, or that's what that was
Yeah.
situation was like, and then where you are now, it can be such a big difference without even realizing it.
And what would you suggest would be the best way to do it? Because I know that a lot of people journal, and for me, I've always struggled with that. Is it something that you do?
Yeah, journaling's definitely a big part of my own journey, and also I encourage my clients to do it. More, like I said, for that self-reflection, so you can look back and see what you were writing about a year ago or a month ago, and see how you felt, especially in a journal, because you're writing your thoughts and your feelings down. But even just taking 5 minutes with a cup of tea just to sit and reflect on
Hmm.
the week, that kind of thing. At the end of the week, sit down and think, what's all that's happened? We don't have enough time in our lives at the moment to process everything that goes on. And if you don't allow yourself that time to process, it just, yeah, you don't
Yeah,
have that reflection and that awareness, which is so important.
yeah. And I do in my group, I do a post, try and do it every Friday. And I ask people what are they celebrating? Because life can get busy, can't it? But I try to do it every Friday and ask people what are they celebrating. And even if they don't answer me, because maybe it's private or not everybody wants to share, it is nice. And when I do that, I always try to think, well, what am I celebrating this week? And even though, like this week, it's been a bit of a rubbish week. We were talking about that earlier,
Yeah.
but I actually think, well, actually, I'm surrounded by such amazing people because it's just taking that tiny thing, which actually means a lot to me. It's huge, but by somebody just, I suppose, just checking in, saying hi, how are you, or whatever else. And that's well, that's probably what I'm going to celebrate this week. Friends, and amazing, women that are in my community. Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
celebrating the wins is definitely something I encourage. It can be so easy to just breeze on to the next thing and forget
Mm,
that you've actually achieved that. And it can be something really, really small and seem really insignificant, but actually that's the building blocks to something else potentially.
yeah,
And if you don't stop and celebrate them, you're just constantly thinking, I've not achieved that. I've not achieved that. I've not
yeah,
achieved that because you're trying to move towards something all the time, if that makes sense.
yeah. And I think sometimes, well, a lot of the time, when I've taken those small steps, it's actually more beneficial than taking that big leap. Because that can be really, really scary. But when you take it bit by bit, actually, it's a lot easier. And yeah.
Well, they always say you should enjoy the process and the journey rather than the actual end goal, because you'll generally enjoy the process and the journey more than you will just achieving the goal. So
Yeah.
that's, if you can reach the goal and celebrate it, great, but enjoy the way you get there as well.
Oh, definitely. So how do you stay motivated when, you've got yourself have gone through tough times?
Um, I like to, reflection is a good one,
Yeah.
definitely to keep motivated. But really, yeah, keeping those testimonials in mind, keeping those people that I've helped in mind, really, and knowing why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Just keeping that idea in your head of why you started this in the first place,
Yeah.
and what you're wanting to achieve, is always an important one as well.
And I think when you know your whys, it makes business so much easier.
Yeah.
I've had multiple businesses, and some of them I've been really, really good at, but I just haven't enjoyed them because I'm good at it, but do you know what I mean? Like it didn't mean much to me. But when, for example, like celebrating women in business, it means so much to me because I never want to have a woman feel like she can't achieve, her dreams of, running her own business or feel lonely or not know how to do something. So that has come a lot easier to me because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot to be said for passion, but yeah, definitely keeping that kind of why, what your goal is, what your aim is, and why you're doing it in mind is
Mhm.
definitely a big part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Fab. So, how has networking helped you in your business? Change of subject a little
Networking.
bit.
Oh, networking's been huge in my life for well, since I started over the 10 years. I mean, I started with one very young child when I first
Mhm.
started, so I could only attend kind of the child friendly ones. And as they've progressed, they're 7 and 9 now, so they're in school, so I can make different ones now. But it's just been really important to be with people that are trying to do a similar thing, trying to achieve similar things. And
Yeah,
some of them have completely inspirational. They've far exceeded what I could ever dream of doing. And then there's people that are just starting out, and it's nice to be able to help and support them as well on
yeah,
their journey, because we've all been there. And the same is to be inspired by the ones that are ahead of us as well, and not feel lonely on that journey, like you said as well. To have
yeah.
that network of people that you are sharing a common interest and common goal with, because your friends and family don't generally understand what
Oh,
it's like to run a business and to be a businesswoman with a family and things like that as well. There's so much juggling that goes on. So to have people that do understand that and get that is so important.
it is. And I find as well that and now I attend both mixed female and male events and female events. And I find that the ones that are mixed, um, I mean I love male company. I find them um they challenge me, because they're very confident and sometimes that makes me go, oh, actually I need to be confident as well. Um, but I find with the female ones that people are more willing to share information and offer advice, which I absolutely love because I think when we help other people and we kind of all rise together, if that makes sense. Um, yeah. So do you tend both, or do you have a preference, or
So far, it tends to have been women only, primarily
yeah,
because I had the children to start with, so I built that network around women.
yeah,
A lot of my clients are women anyway. That's kind of my target audience, so I don't feel the need to network
no,
with men so much. Um, the men's ones tend to be at the wrong time for me as well. A lot of the
Yeah.
time they're either really early in the morning, or they're, they're just not, they don't tend to fit with me and my schedule. So yeah.
Do you know what? I think it's finding that what works for you and actually being proud of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe a want for a better word, but sometimes we often get judged. I mean, I went to a networking and I remember a man saying, "What about us?" And then I felt really guilty, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, maybe I should be doing something for men." And then I thought, "Oh no, my values and my beliefs are." Us women need to be supported, and that's nothing against men. But
Yeah.
sometimes, and I often find that in business, sometimes people will offer advice, and I'm people pleaser. I listen to people, I take it on board, and then I worry. Um, but yeah, sometimes in business we have to trust our gut, and we have to do what our feelings tell us to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
if that
Yeah. Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. I
Oh,
don't know if that makes
absolutely.
sense.
And a part of building your own business is to build it around you and what works for you as well, and having those strong boundaries in place for yourself
Yeah,
as well, to know that it takes time. That's
yeah,
why the newbies that you meet, you see them and they're working all the hours and they're doing this and that and they're running around, and you think, now, like 10 years later, I'm like, no, that I know what I want and I'm gonna get there in my own way, rather than trying to bend to everybody around me.
yeah,
Like you said, that you've got your circle, there's you and there's your family, and then there's a business, really, at the moment, at least, until they don't need you anymore, and then you can
yeah,
always ramp it up if you need to. But
yeah,
that's kind for me, that's how I want to
yeah.
be able to do it.
And that's such an important lesson which some people don't learn, or they learn it the hard way, like
Yeah.
myself. I
And
was
me.
working, yeah, 7 days a week. I was getting up, I was starting at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I was still answering text messages at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I got myself into burnout.
Yeah.
I started to hate my business.
Yeah. It does take
Uh,
the fun out of it if you've not got those boundaries. If you don't have a day that's for you, or you don't have some time that's for you, and just, yeah, having those boundaries, that you know that you want to work these hours, and
yeah,
allowing not allowing clients to specify when their appointments are going to be. That's something I've learned quite
yeah,
along the way. I now have a calendar, everything fits around that calendar, and if they can't fit into it, then I'm not going to try and fit them
yeah,
in, if that makes sense. They're
yeah.
not my client if they can't fit in around that. They're not my ideal client. That's how I look
And
at
I
it.
think, and that is so true. And I think people worry, oh, am I losing money? Am I,
Yeah.
people pleasing, that sort of comes into
Yeah.
it, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
actually, it makes you unhappy, which means that you can no longer run your business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's so important what you've just said. So thank you. And
It's okay. They're all important lessons, but sometimes you do learn them along the way, unfortunately. They're not something that you start off with usually.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it's been lovely talking to you. Is there anything else you would like to share before we leave?
No, it's been lovely chatting, and yeah, thank you for having me on your podcast. And yeah, I'm sure if anyone wants to get in touch, they can find me on social media, and I've got a website as well. So
Okay. So I will share the website,
mhm.
but I will say it now for anybody that yeah, who can't see that. www.spirituallyfit.co.uk.
Yeah, that's
Is it
right.
the same? Is your social media links, are they
They're all
spiritually fit?
spiritually fit. Yes, spiritually fit wellbeing services is what I'm under on Facebook and Instagram, or you can find me as Alison Worrall on LinkedIn as well,
Brilliant.
and Facebook as well. I'm under my own name as well. So, yeah, a few different
Lovely.
ways.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And if anybody would like to come and join Celebrating Women in Business, we are on Facebook as Celebrating Women in Business. Our group is Celebrating Women in Business South Wales. And I think Instagram, we are Celebrating Women in Business, and then LinkedIn, it's Sarah Jenkins. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you soon.